Said one time, Jack started out to hunt him a job of work. He pulled out and traveled on till he got to another settlement, and he ran across this feller. Told him there was a man there wanted to have some work done. So he told Jack where the man's house was at, and Jack went on over there. Stopped by the gate and hollered, "Hello!" Well, the man come out and asked Jack what did he want, so Jack told him. The man told Jack to come on in, asked him what his name was. Says, "Well, Jack, I've got a mill on a water course down the road a piece, but I just ain't got the time to run it, and I've hired several men to grind down there, but the very first night, something always has killed 'em. Looked like it was some kind of poison. Now I thought I'd tell you, Jack, so you know all about it before you took the job." "Well," says Jack, "if you don't care, we might walk down there and look the mill over." So they went on down to the mill. It was an old log house with a fireplace and everything fixed for whoever tended the mill to cook and sleep and everything down there. There were 12 windows rather high up on the walls and had no window lights in them. Jack looked it over right good and says, "Bedad, I believe I might just take the job." The man says, "All right, Jack, I see you ain't no coward. Now I'll give you half of what you make and give you rations too. I'll go back to the house and get you some meat and meal for your supper, and you can start grinding soon as anybody comes." Well, when word got out the mill was opened up again, lots of customers started a-comin', and Jack had to grind right on till it was plumb dark. Finally got the last turn ground out and shut the mill down. He hadn't no more'n got the water turned out from the mill race when here come an old man on a sorry-looking mule. Got off and walked in the mill with a poke of corn on his shoulder. He had a long gray beard and he was one-eyed. "Howdy do, Jack," he says. "How you getting on?" "All right, I guess," says Jack. "Hope you're well." "Eh, about like common," said the old man. Then Jack looked at him and says, "I don't believe I ever saw you afore." "No," the old man told him. "I'm a stranger." "Well, how in the world did you know my name?" Jack asked him. "Oh, I knowed you time I saw you," the old man says. "I've come a long way today, Jack, and I wonder could you grind my corn for me? I couldn't get here no sooner." "Why, sure," says Jack. "You wait here a minute, and I'll go turn the water in again." So Jack started the mill up and ground the stranger's corn for him. Shut the mill down. When he got back, the old man says to him, says, "Jack, you're the first one ever done me right here at this mill, and I'm going to give you a present." He reached in his big coat and took out a silver knife and handed it to Jack. Jack thanked him and the old man left. Then Jack built up a fire in the fireplace and got out the skillet. Now Jack didn't have no lamp, but the fire gave off right much light, and it happened the moon was a-shining in all 12 of them windows. Made it pretty near bright as day. So Jack was a-cutting up his meat with that old silver knife when all at once it got thick dark in there. Jack looked up, and in every one of them little windows said big black cats. They all were looking right at Jack, their eyes just a-shining. Well, Jack, he wasn't scared much. He went on and put his meat in the skillet and set it on the fire and stooped down to turn it with his knife. Paid no attention to them cats. But just about the time his meat begun to fry, Jack heard one cat light down the floor. He just went on a-cooking. And next thing you know, there was a big black cat sitting right up the fireplace with him. Jack went to turn the meat over, and that cat stuck out its paw toward the skillet and says, "Sop, dawg." Jack reached out right quick with his knife and says, "You better not sop your doll of my meat or I'll cut it off." The old cat jerked its foot back and sat there a while. Them other cats stirred around a little. They stayed up in the winders. Then Jack saw that big cat reach for the skillet again and says, "Soap doll." Jack come at it with his knife and says, "I done told you not to sop your doll in there. You try it one more time now and I'll sure cut it off." The old cat drawed back, sat there switching its tail. Now them other cats stirred a little. One or two of them sort of meowed. Then that cat flopped its foot right smack in Jack's grave and says, "Sop doll." Jack came down with his knife right quick and cut the cat's paw plumb off. The old cat jumped for a winder and all 12 of them hissed and were gone from there before Jack could turn to look. Well, Jack went to go throw the meat in the fire. Instead of a cat's paw, it was a woman's hand laying there. There in the skillet, had a ring on one finger. Well, Jack, he took the hand out and wrapped it in some paper and put it up on the fireboard. Then he washed and scoured out his skillet and cooked him some more meat and a pound of bread. Got done eating, went on to bed. The next morning, the man that owned the mill got up real early. Says, "Old lady, you better get up and cook me some breakfast. I reckon I'll have to make arrangements about burying that boy today." His old lady sort of scrounged around in the bed and said she was sick and couldn't get up, so the man fixed himself some breakfast and pulled on out for the mill. And there was Jack just a-grinding right on. The man got to where Jack was and hollered to him and says, "Well, I wasn't expecting to see you alive, Jack. Thought I'd be a-burying you today." Jack hollered back at him and says, "Well, it's a good thing you didn't have to do that." The man hollered back in Jack's ear and says, "When you get that turned ground, shut down the mill. I got to talk to you right now." So directly, Jack went and pulled the water gate so the mill racket would stop, so him and that old man could talk. Says, "Now, Jack, you tell me what happened last night." Jack related to him about the old black cats, and he told about the old man giving him that silver knife. The man says, "I see through the whole thing now. It's a witch gang. They wanted to have their lodge meeting here at the mill, and when that cat sopped in the grease, she poisoned it some way or other." Well, Jack said he didn't have no idea if that's how it was. So that's why he scoured out his skillet. The man said it was a good thing he done that. Then Jack told him about the cat's paw turning to a woman's hand. Says, "You might not believe that, but I've got it right here to show you." Got that woman's hand and unwrapped it. The man looked at it. He looked it over. Looked at the ring on it. Says, "Now I declare, well, I'd never thought it." Says, "Now, Jack, you lock the mill up and you come on back home with me. We got to tend to this right now. It's a good thing that knife was made of silver. You can't hurt a witch with a knife or a bullet unless it's silver." So they went on back to the house and the old man's woman was still in the bed. He asked her if she felt any better and she said no. Said she'd not get up for a little while longer. So the man says to her, says, "You want me to send for the doctor?" She said no. She said for him to send for some neighbor women. He asked her what women folks she wanted to come, and she named out 11 women. So the man sent word to them. Before any of them got there, he says to his wife, says, "Let me see your right hand." The old woman sort of twisted around and poked out her left hand. "No," said the old man, "hit your right hand I want to see." So she twisted and turned and poked out her left hand again. Then he reached over and pulled out a right arm, and there wasn't no hand on it. Well, the women folks came readily as soon as they got word. The man says to Jack, says, "I've been suspecting my old woman was mixed up with a gang of witches, but I never allowed she was the head of it." Jack says, "Oh, surely not." The man says, "Yeah, I knowed it was her hand as soon as I seen that ring on it." Well, when the last of the 11 women got in with his old lady, the man shut the door on them and fired the house. Them 12 witches started cracking and a-popping, and every one of them was burned plumb up. So Jack made an end to the witch gang in that settlement, and that man never did have no more trouble about his meal.